Welcome to the podcast, Beyond Expectations, Parenting Autism. Follow Michelle Chabolla's journey of raising a child with autism, the challenges, victories, and rewards. If you're a parent, caregiver, or simply someone seeking to understand autism on a personal level, you're in the right place.
Hello, here we are. We're back with episode 2 of Beyond Expectations with Michelle Chabolla and Sean Dobson.
Hello.
And I think on the first episode, I jumped a little ahead of some of the things that we wanted to talk about, and I've been asked about since then, which I guess, Sean, you were part of it. Our first reactions when we got the diagnosis, and I actually looked up the official definition of it, which has changed.
I was going to ask you, does the definition of, does the diagnosis itself, has it been a moving target?
I absolutely think it's been a moving target, because I remember like it was yesterday, and you coming back to my desk saying that you put in autism and whatever you put it in, right? Because it wasn't Google or whatever it was too long ago. And it just said there is no cure. So now they actually say there is currently no cure for autism spectrum disorder, and it's considered a lifelong neurological development condition, not a disease that can be cured or reversed with medication. So it's still very mind-boggling when you get that diagnosis. And I think that's what I want to get out to people is it's okay to freak out. I mean, I think I freaked out. I think you freaked out. I think we're
permission to freak has been granted.
Permission to freak out. But and so then what did we do from there? Do you remember what we did?
Man, I won't remember it clearly as I won't remember as clearly as you, but I remember telling the family, and we have a great family, so it was incoming people from every direction trying to help with all of our sisters and our parents. And then I remember it's been from that day forward, there's been something every day to think about and remember, right? From the different therapies you tried and the different
absolutely
obstacles and milestones and the high spots and the low spots.
Lots of high spots, lots and lots of low spots. I think if I remember correctly, which I remember going home that night and, looking at him, this perfect bouncing baby, beautiful baby, happy boy, thinking, okay, now what? Am I going to treat him different? Is my family going to treat him different? Right?
Yeah.
Physically was a gorgeous, happy, healthy baby, which, and I know this may sound different or weird, but you do treat him different, right? Because he doesn't look different.
Well, anyone with a disability, you try not to react to it, but in certain cases,
right.
You do.
Yeah, he's not physically handicapped. So,
right.
So from there, we started just reaching out. I found a program at the school, which was in my neighborhood, called a Preschool Program for Child Development. I immediately enrolled him in that. And that was to get him around other children, playing with toys, typical, tried to do what the other children were doing that he was not doing at.
Was that program designed for kids that might have a disability, or was it just for anybody?
It was all disabled children.
All disabled children.
Yep. All different types of disabilities. Yeah. And so he went to that school during the day, and then we were just reaching. And I think the next thing that we did, the next thing we did was the dolphin therapy. And I think I touched a little bit on that. And we went for a week and swam with the dolphins and learned sign language. And then we started learning about sensory integration dysfunction, which I really want new parents, any parent, any caregiver to understand that these children all have sensory integration dysfunction. We all have it. You have it. I have it. We all have it. They just tend to have a lot more of it. And then also they have it in different aspects.
Sensory integration dysfunction, is that kind of as simple as what it sounds like? Is that sound and light and touch and whatever all become overwhelming, or how would you describe it?
Right. You can't process it. You just literally can't process it. So where you see, and you will see a lot of children out in public, autistic children with headphones on. I don't know if you've experienced that or not, but
Yeah.
they're desensitizing the environment, right? They're tuning you out. They're turning everything out because it's just too much to process. We didn't do that. That's a new thing, or not a new thing, but we did not do the headphones in public. I did hold him a lot. We did backpacks with books in it to give him his space and kind of grounding in his environment.
What's the like in your experience, right? What's the rub between, because it sounds like isolation would be soothing, right? Less inputs, less noise, less whatever. But but development requires a lot of that input. So how do you find the balance between not having so much input that it upsets them, but then not having so little input that they can't develop?
Correctly. So I think you do like what I was just talking about. If you take them to a mall like we did, you try to center them and try to give them a space that's their own, because you know what's going on in the mall.
Yes, right.
The whole world's going crazy. And so we would put a backpack with some books on it, the little miniature backpack for little kids. And that just gave him a sense of grounding, I guess is what you'd say. Kind of put him in his own space. Now, it didn't take away the noise and all of that stuff, but it just kind of gave him less movement, because they tend to either walk away, run away, get violent, all the
And get away from
get away from it all.
We're being
Now,
overwhelmed.
Gregory's 31 and would much rather be in a quiet room.
Yeah.
His downtime, he's by himself. I will admit, and I don't force it, because we are out and about all day, right? I mean, he works, just the two of us, but he's working in a loud environment, a busy environment all day. So he needs that downtime at night. So I'm not saying don't let them have their downtime.
But do I have it right that development requires some of this environment that can also be overwhelming?
Correct.
So is this one of those life skills you talked about of how to handle?
Correct.
So how does that work? Or how do you like, is this like a 5-year program? Is it a week program? How do you think about like getting to a place where they have, I guess, maybe what you call a coping mechanism for how the environments?
Desensitizing them. And so this is going to sound really crazy to you, and you may remember it, but when we took him to the dolphin therapy, and then Valerie, my next oldest sister, found a therapist in Fresno, California that did the craniosacral therapy. We touched on that. In that therapy, we brushed Gregory with a brush that you were sent home from the hospital with your baby to wash their hair, the little plastic, real soft brush.
Yep.
So the therapist had us brush his arms and brush his legs and brush his back every 2 hours, 24 hours a day for about a week. So that's what we did. And that was desensitizing him to the environment. So if you think about it, somebody tickles you. Now, some people are more ticklish than others.
Yep.
Okay, or more sensitive.
Some people's big sisters hold them down and tickle them.
No. Oh, no, don't even think about that.
We're going to read today.
If you desensitize that skin, then you're able to process more of the environment, right?
Oh.
So again,
it's like being treated for an allergy a little bit, where they give you a little bit of the allergen a little bit over time, and so you develop a resistance to it. The same kind of thing.
Over, correct.
And the brushing itself wasn't meant to relax them; it was meant to like almost.
It did relaxing, but it also desensitized him. He had bathroom issues also as well, and that cured those, because is
that pretty common for autistic children to have difficulties with bathrooms? So difficulties meaning didn't know how to go to the bathroom, didn't potty train, or what?
It is, because it's a huge sensory thing. It is, yeah, it definitely is. So if you desensitize them again to that, then that helps them process that as well.
Oh, so it's like a withholding thing, because the whole process is overwhelming.
Right. So that helped. Oh my gosh, that changed our lives.
It sounds like a lot of tedious work, but not too complicated.
Yeah,
anyone can do it.
Anybody can do it, and it's not going to hurt your child at all. And you only do the arms, legs, and back, and you can contact me.
Would you say you kind of brush? Is the kind of brush important, or is it just
Yes, it is. The kind of brush is very important. It's that little medical plastic brush. I wish I had a name for it, but you can buy them at Target. You can buy them anywhere. It's just where you bathe, in the bathing section and this is for any age. This isn't for a baby. This isn't for a teenager, a 10-year. I mean, this is for any age that has this. And if you did it,
I would like this, but that's what I'm trying to get my heads around. Is it a little bit of discomfort that allows you to overwhelm become comfort, or is it like a sedating? It's calming.
Oh, if you did it, you would love it. You would love it. It feels really, really good. We had to do Michael as well. He'll love me saying that. Everything we did for Gregory. And then we had sleeping issues, which a lot of autistic don't sleep. They don't sleep, or they have a hard time going to sleep. So I did something weird again. He would go to sleep, but he would always find me in the middle of the night, curl up beside me and go back to sleep. Right. That I laid down with my kids until they went to sleep, which is probably a big no. But anyway, he would.
I think the science has gone from let them cry themselves to sleep to cuddle them all night.
Everybody's in the same.
I would say whatever the mom thinks is right is the right one, to be my guess.
Right. Whatever works, I say. Whatever works. I was told, put that baby down. Whatever. Whatever works. Hold that baby if you want to. But we actually would heat up a rock. I don't know if you remember this or not.
Oh.
And Gregory, a hot rock to sleep with. So I think I was his hot rock that he was looking for. The minute we did that, he started sleeping through the night. So all of these.
At what age was that?
7.5 before he slept through the night.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
People
and like the rock would go in the oven?
People wonder why I don't sleep. I did it in boiling water in a microwave in a bowl and just got it so hot you couldn't touch it. You had to take it out with tongs. And I put it in a pillowcase and I put it with Gregory. And he slept through the night. First night I did it.
That's fascinating.
And I came across that because remember hot rock therapy?
Yep.
I was like,
a lot of these sound like things you would pay a lot of money for at a spa.
Right. And you do with hot rock therapy. And it's the same. It's those stones. We went to the river. My best friend Jane and I did. We found Colorado river rocks because they're conducive to heat. And, it had to be a certain type of rock.
And did he curl up with it like it was
just doll? Put it right beside him. It was just something about that pressure and that warmth. Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
Like I said, all the stuff I did is so weird.
At 7.5. Well, it worked.
At 7.5, that's what we did. We did music therapy, which was very, very interesting. I believe it's still out there, where he listened to very, very complicated symphony music.
Classical music.
While he played classical music. So he wore the little belt with back then it was a CD player. Now it would be
right.
One of those headphones. Oh gosh, I just think about it, the cord and everything we had to deal with.
Yeah, exactly.
He played and we did music therapy.
So he would just be like playing with blocks or whatever, and he'd have Beethoven for hours. And what was his reaction to that? Did he go looking for it? Was something he enjoyed?
He loved it. He did. He loved it. Maybe why he loves it. He loves music now. Think about it. Loves music.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. And then we also did hippotherapy. So I'm just going to run through the therapies that I did with Gregory. So hippotherapy is horse therapy. They call it hippotherapy. I think it has something to do with your hips. The reason why they call it that.
It's not a hippopotamus.
It's not a hippopotamus. I fed my child to
it. So what is this? So it's called hippotherapy. How does it work?
Therapy. So this is horse therapy. They ride a horse and you have to move, right? And they do this for so many different disabilities, but for autism, they do it as well. It's also a big sensory thing. Touching the horse, feeling the horse, because, a horse isn't so soft, right?
Yeah, right.
And he did great. He loved that. But also, he loved it so much that while he was up there, he learned his colors because he knew he got to, ride the horse. There's lots of reinforcement as far as getting to ride the horse, but lots of sensory, lots of movement. OT, a very fun, expensive OT.
Yes, a form of occupational therapy.
Yes.
Yeah. So it says here that it's helps improve balance, posture, coordination, and sensory processing in clients with a disability.
There you go. All that in the above, and he loved it, and it was amazing. It was amazing. That was a very good thing for him.
Is it super expensive?
It was. It was. They're everywhere now. We just did some awards for one called Right On Center for Kids here in Austin.
In Austin.
Yeah. And I don't know what it costs anymore, but it was pretty pricey back then. But
Wow.
they basically have retired horses. It's awesome. You know,
Oh, that's for the horse.
just kind of walk around with the kids. So that's it. I think, golly, and then we, the craniosacral massage has been a lifesaver. We stuck with that, but I tell my parents that come to me more than anything, all the sensory struggles. They really, really struggle with sensory, and the only way to describe
maybe unpack that a little bit for everyone. So when I think of sensory, I think of touching something, hearing something, seeing something.
right.
Is
So they're super sensitive to the environment, right? So they come up to our booth, for example, and I mean, there's a million puzzles and books. I mean, there's a lot going on in our booth,
Right.
and they're just, grabbing, and they're like, "We're sorry." I'm like, "No, it's fine." And so we find him one, the little boy something to look at while his parents shop because he's just so overstimulated. It's overstimulation. That's all it is.
Interesting.
But sleeping, the bathroom, large venues, the malls, the airports, all of those are struggles for kids, period. Right? You've seen a kid running through the airport. It's like, it's a lot for all of us. I know several adults that do not go to concerts, do not go. They just don't do the crowd thing. They don't do the loud thing.
Right.
It's not weird. It's just they have all of these sensories together, and it's just a lot to process.
Right. It just seems so dangerous that if you try to protect them from those environments that are upsetting, that you end up hurting them because you limit their exposure and they learn through exposure, right?
Right. And you have a recluse, right? You have
Yeah.
somebody that doesn't want to be around anybody. So you got to really work on it. You got to work on getting them out into the environment and teaching them not to run away, not to run out in front of a car, look both ways.
Did
all
you ever
that.
have like a safety switch of when Gregory was getting really uncomfortable and overwhelmed, and you could kind of like do something magic and kind of like calm him quickly? Or was it a break your head out?
Yes, just removing from the environment. Absolutely. Like if he's just done, it's time to go.
Yeah.
It's time to go. It's time to get out of there. Now, you've seen him. I'm going to go out and stretch, he'll say at the restaurant. You've seen it.
Right. Yeah.
You just saw it on our trip, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, he needs to get away. He needs to stretch.
But now he understands when it's time for him to remove himself from the situation.
Correct. And he knows not to leave. It worries me. Like we were downtown LA eating at this dive and he needed a stretch. And I was like, I was like, I'm like, this is probably not a really good place to stretch. And he goes, I'll stay right here. And, we ate really fast while he was stretching because even though he's 31, I mean, he's in LA, but he needed to stretch. So.
And stretch is code for just be alone. No noise, no lights, no people, no expectations from people, no interactions, no side conversation, no baby crying, just poof.
Oof. Yep. I need to get.
And do the headphones give you that magic release or the eyes?
That's what parents, I think, are doing. A lot of people are doing now. They're putting the headphones on, when they're in public and stuff. And again, like you said, you're basically taking them out of that world completely. Right? They're not hearing conversation. They're not hearing bus noises and car noises. Is that a good thing?
That's what I'm saying. It feels like that it's one of these things, like I hate to use the dumb analogy of like how they treat you for allergies, but it seems like a little dose of what's upsetting you.
Right.
And then a reset and a little dose and a little dose and a little dose is, would you say that that's kind of how it works for you?
That's how it works. And you also got to know what works for your child. They're all different. I was just with a little boy this past weekend. And I saw so many of the same things that I dealt with Gregory. And he was a doll, but he was busy. And he grabbed something and put something in his mouth really fast. And we didn't know what it was. And he never would tell us. There's just all these different things that you're just like, oh my gosh, what was that? Yeah, what just happened? So the environment, just is a tricky, tricky thing because home is more comfortable. It's easier, right?
Right.
They can run back and forth. They can make their noises. They can flap their hands, and you're not going to do anything. They do that in public, which Gregory still does.
Right.
Right? You need to deal with it. So sensories are it's just they're struggles that
Did you ever have like a program like we're going to do this at 3:00 every Tuesday? We're going to do this every Wednesday. Like, did you ever have like a regimented schedule of like trying to overcome some of these sensory issues?
I did when I was at home with him, working with him. I absolutely did. But as far as, I mean, I remember now he was diagnosed at 2.5, fully diagnosed at 3. Do you know how many trips that child had been on? You know how many countries he'd been in? I mean, we just traveled with him, not knowing. So was that good or bad? I have no idea.
You're saying from the time he was born till the time he was diagnosed, he'd been put into these busy, loud, overwhelming environments over
Oh
and over.
my gosh. We lost track how many flights he'd been on, how many trips states he'd been to, everywhere. My family.
So if you have talking to a parent with an autism, a parent that has a fresh diagnosis, like what do you say about travel? About, I mean, it's not this. I mean, probably not the first question that comes to mind. I mean, we should talk about like what do you do with sleep and bathroom and whatever. But in those, if like is travel supposed to be just put off brought to the bare minimum, or is it supposed to be like a program of like we're going to live a normal life and we're just going to make sure that we have our own coping mechanisms that we bring along?
Absolutely. I would not stop traveling. I do know a family that has had to quit traveling. He's an adult now, and it's just not possible.
Right.
But that's just, like I said, they're all different. He also, may have some other things going on. But for Gregory, I had already done so much before I knew. I was just like, I don't know that I would have done it. I don't know if I would have been, I don't know. You don't know, right? You just go.
Isn't that a fair question too, of like being afraid to do the wrong thing?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there is anything wrong unless you're starting, injecting your child with something or doing something that's going to harm them.
Right.
Every crazy thing I did with Gregory did not hurt him. Did it work? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not sometimes, but we never did anything that was going to hurt him. And that's why I try to tell people, especially about the therapies that he's had, try them.
Yeah.
Just try them. It may work and it may not work. I have no clue. Everybody's different, right? What works for you doesn't work.
Exactly. But it sounds like it sounds like the therapies you're talking about, not to overgeneralize, but we are talking about like spa type therapies of like relaxation and quietness and meditation and massage and the brushing and the scalp massage. It does seem like the things that a person who just has a busy life enjoys having all those things done so that their nervous system gets a reset.
Correct. So isn't that interesting that that's what some of these children would thrive on?
Right.
That maybe they're trying to tell us. I mean, I've always said he's smarter than all of us. Maybe they're trying to tell us that we're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
right?
that we need those same type of neurological reset your nervous system type treatments as well.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. I totally think that. I just think they're way beyond anything.
That may be what red wine is.
Red wine. But yeah, I totally think sensory is probably one of the biggest things to focus on with these children when you first get the diagnosis, and see what trips them. What is it? What trick? How come that just happened? What upset him when?
Were there clear signs that where you're getting too far? Because right now Gregory's 31 years old. If he's getting upset, he knows, hey, I'm going to go stretch. When he was 5, like, what were you looking for? Was it what do you call it? Stimming? Is that the proper way to call it?
Right.
You're starting to vibrate.
Yeah.
He's starting to flop and tangent something.
Yes, he would stim more. He would wave his hands and go back and forth, but he would also run to me and just grab me.
Oh,
like that safety,
He's nervous.
It's time, right? It's time to go.
And so you just had to listen then.
So you just have to really, really, really listen. Some of the kids I worked with in middle school, I mean, I would just see them just start tightening up in their fists. It's like, okay, it's time to go for a walk. And, we'd go for a walk and work it out.
Wow. And so that's like the parents' number one job, I guess, is to be that for the small children, to be that alarm to say, okay, we're the cup's getting full here. We got to do something.
Right. Absolutely. And if there's anything off that day, change your plans. Right? I've had those days where it's probably not a good day for us to go somewhere. We're probably
Really?
just
Is that because there was no sleep that night, or there was a meal that didn't settle right,
right. Or maybe he has a headache and he can't tell you he has a headache. You ever thought about that? If he can't talk and he's off
yeah.
and he's making, I don't know, maybe faces or just not acting like he normally does, maybe he doesn't feel good.
So you have to become hyper aware of their emotions, which is hard. That's hard for me today.
They're not speaking. It's a whole read your child. Read the room. I taught Gregory how to read the room. Read the room.
But how do you do it? That seems so hard.
Oh,
You're looking for micro changes in behavior.
Yeah, you really are. Or if you see something really that you've never seen before, you're just like, what just happened? What just set that off?
Wow.
Yeah. So it is. It's just a whole read your child. But sensory is huge. We all have sensory. Every single one of us has sensory, whether it's a certain sock we wear. We don't like tags in our clothes. Think of all the things you and I missed out on making money on that I should have been. Darn. Yeah. All those things I dealt with.
Right.
And I never really tuned into it to make.
That's like shirt tags. I think we talked about shoes with no laces.
I cut
pants
tags
with no buttons, shirt no buttons.
Right. I cut tags out of everything because he couldn't handle it. So, and now there's tagless clothes. So what does that tell you? Gregory's not the only one, right?
Yeah.
So
of course.
it is. It's crazy, but
wow.
I think if we were just, being in tune to them and listen to their needs, and I think that's the best thing that we can do for them at this point. And then go forward from there. That's all you can do.
But when you look back, knowing 30 years later, when you look back, are there a clearer set of things that you wish you would have seen a year earlier, or 2 years earlier, or 6 months earlier? Like, you go back in your memory and go, this was happening in front of us, but we didn't see it.
Oh, absolutely. I think the running back and forth, on his tippy toes, nonstop. Yeah. And he wasn't flapping his hands at that point, back and forth. Of course, he wasn't talking, but we didn't think anything about it because we knew what he wanted, right? And then maybe wanting to be held all the time. Maybe he was trying to tell me in his own way that it's too much. Let's go, at a restaurant or whatever. He'd sit in his high chair for a little bit and then he'd be in my lap, just wrapped around my neck. So I think those for sure, the sleeping, the bathroom is, I look back, sure. I'm like, wow, that's what it was. Those were all signs that I did not know. But my doctor didn't either. No, I mean, nobody did, right? It was just a time of, now they're getting diagnosed way younger, and early intervention is.
Do you think that it's a little bit of an unfair question, but like Gregory was 2 or 3, we didn't have nearly the amount of internet access and iPhones and iPads and the video games with 1,000 things going on? Like, what would you think about raising him today with all these inputs? Would you try to keep him away from electronics?
I tell you, I do say on a daily basis, and this is not to offend anyone out there, that I'm so glad the iPad wasn't around when he was little.
Really?
I think he would have tuned into it. You'd never get it out of his hands. I really do.
It was the escape that you needed, right? I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, the screen's amazing. The infinite content, the sound is incredible.
Right. And there's all sorts of great games to play on it. But I could see my child, as much as he loves television, he loves movies, he loves games, he would never want to put it down. He would never want to put it down. And they're great tools. I have seen some amazing games on them, learning words and
right,
and reading and but I would think that would be a crutch for him just because I know what he loves. He loves technology.
Yeah.
So I think that would be something that would be really hard to get out of his hands.
Yeah.
So I don't know that. And he's not social media. He does not like the phone, but he uses his phone to do YouTube music, YouTube videos. That's what he uses it for.
Right.
But he doesn't want to talk on it. Does not want to at all. At all.
That's brutal.
It's like
Yeah, that's a tough one because there's going to be so much benefit from technology, but also the risk that you lose the chance for that human to human socialization. And I think we have it with all of our kids, right? Well, with all, I mean, I regret as much time as that our kids spent so much time on devices, and myself as well. And it becomes a crutch for me in my daily life. So I just wondered, like, for a child with autism, is it just that much riskier that it becomes the crutch?
I believe it would have been for Gregory, and I guess they're all different, but I've seen some children where you literally can't get it out of their hands, and you're like, look at me, say hi, and they're just
Yeah, well,
yeah, they're not going to. Or they're walking around in public with it, which is where you need to be looking at people and talking to people, and they're just they're on their pad.
That's a challenge for all of us, I think.
Like a lot of people are on their phone. Look around when you're
walk around, not in the I think there's an expression that's been rolling around for the last couple of years, is that people are really trying to be where their feet are, right? Because it's so easy to not be where your feet are.
Not be where your feet are.
And I think it must be so challenging as a parent to have a child that needs this relaxation and needs this escapism, and then you have to somehow, take it away from them to so that it doesn't become a crutch. That's got to be so hard.
Right. So do you or do you not? That's a very good question. It really is, because it's also a comfort, right? You're in a restaurant. You don't want him screaming. You don't want him having a meltdown. So hurry up and give him some technology to keep him busy, which, sometimes it's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
So anyway. All right. Well,
that was great.
That was great. And we will be on to our next episode.
All right. Can't wait to see you again.
All right.
Bye.